Morning. Welcome to That Auto Show. I'm Scott, and this is Dave.
How you doing?
And we're in Frederick, Maryland, located next to the Frederick Airport. Every morning we do a little car chat show. We talk about current events or topics related to the industry, and we also try to answer questions about car repairs or car issues, anything car related.
Yep.
And you can find us on Facebook, or our website is thatautoshop.com. We're also on Twitter at thatautoshop. And our phone number is 301-660-6729.
An email.
thatautoshop@gmail.com.
Yep.
So there's no excuse for not reaching us. We're everywhere.
You got it.
We're all over the webs. So we don't have a whole lot of time, but we wanted to revisit again for the third time the autonomous vehicle, right?
Yeah, this is so interesting, and I thought, why not, just spill into the end of the week and just finish out the week on another really tough topic for this, upcoming technology, but a very interesting topic as well, and one that we as consumers need to be engaged in, because it's going to make the difference in how this turns out.
Yeah, I mean, the article that we both read, I thought was very thorough. It gave us some predictions on when this is going to all most likely kind of hit critical mass, when it's going to most likely be a viable technology, an affordable technology, and more widespread. And we're looking around 2050. According to current estimates.
Yeah.
I personally think it'll be sooner, and I have my reasons that we can talk about later.
Yeah.
I don't want to run away with my own rant, but yeah, just to your point, my point is that this is going to be something we all deal with in our lifetimes. We're all going to be facing the decision to buy or to drive or to ride in a self-driving car. Period. End of discussion.
Yeah.
Right? So it's kind of fun to be at the cutting edge of this discussion, like be right there thinking about all the stuff related to it.
Yeah.
It fascinates me.
Yeah.
So
I guess the topic of the article that we both read was, how much are these things going to cost? That's the basic topic of it.
That's the first thought that probably comes across people's mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how much is it going to be?
So right now, I think we're at about $380,000 a piece for a self-driving car that actually drives itself.
Yep.
Yeah. So of course that's a little too much for the average consumer.
About the cost of a home.
Yeah, yeah.
Your biggest investment in your lifetime.
So, something else that was interesting was that, currently people spend, in America, the average consumer in America spends about $30,000 on a new car when they only have $20,000 to spend. So I think that'll come into play later as well. Mm-hmm. Because, what do you do when you have to go buy something that's $500,000 in this country?
Yep.
You get a loan on it.
You get a loan.
You get a mortgage on your house. You get a loan on your car and everything. So that's going to have a big, that's going to be interesting to watch how this all turns out.
And I hate to jump off topic, but and it's still on the topic. But when you think about the price tag, $300,000 for one of these things, it's absurd at this point. But it's also not completely absurd that it's not doable for some industries. All right, and this is kind of goes to my point that I've talked about a lot.
Trucks, the 18-wheeler Volvo trucks, some of those things are $1 million.
No,
I'm serious, man.
$1 million.
The ones that are $1
million.
Yeah.
Wow, I would never spend $1 million.
Yeah, the ones with the driver assisted capabilities already and stuff like that to keep it in the lane and they're expensive.
Well, I know, and so there you go. So and this goes to my point. That we're absolutely going to see these vehicles sooner than we think in commercial applications. It is just absolutely inevitable. It's the writing is on the wall. If you're an executive at a transportation company, you're sitting there analyzing the numbers of the overhead of the employees to drive these stinking things, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I could save millions and millions and millions of dollars every year by just getting rid of drivers and having these things drive themselves. You're going to drive faster, farther without having to sleep. You're not going to worry about drug testing and alcohol, and insurance is going to be cheaper because they're going to be freaking reliable and safe as crazy.
What about health insurance?
Health insurance,
all employers.
all of the HR costs, all of the human resource costs of employing somebody.
Yeah.
And so you're going to see this technology a lot sooner than you think because of these industries are going to drive it home, man. I mean, I'm already thinking about it as, as a courier transportation provider, as our second, industry that we're involved in. I'm already thinking, how could we, at some point, this is going to replace our courier drivers. It's inevitable, right? Yeah. And so I guess the point is that price is really, really high, but there's also a lot of industries where it completely makes sense to do that. Within just a couple of years, you could return your investment, very easily. And in some, maybe even sooner. We're talking about a truck that needs to get from California to Maine, where it takes 6 days today. It would take 3 days because it's going to drive around the clock, or whatever it is. Maybe it's 7 days versus 4 days. The point is the same. It's going to not stop driving except for fuel, and it's going to go. It doesn't need to sleep.
Yeah.
It's going to be like robots just cruising the interstates.
Yeah.
But so when you have an industry that drives a technology like this, it just goes down in price because you have more money invested into it. You have more competition, so you can have more people eager to get into it, and that just drives that price down. Just like the computer, just like any technology that we see with TVs, they used to, plasma screen, what we talked about the other day, or $10,000, $20,000 a piece. Now you can get the same thing for $500.
And I think what the article stated was that first these would start off as luxury vehicles, and then that would bring down the price because some people would start buying them. So when more people start buying, then the price gets lower, so more people start buying. That's just the ebb and flow of a new product. But so I like your idea that it's not going to be those people trying to buy a luxury vehicle. It's going to be industry buying these things that drives down the price of the components that make them up. And then makes it, accessible to the average consumer.
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. It's going to happen that way. We always think about a lot of these things in terms of consumer, because that's what we are and that's what we think about. But when you think about, these other areas that it could be used and people who have the money to put towards it, that's a huge factor in it, Just like GPS technology, the military created these satellites and put them up in the air. And then from that, all of these other, smaller industries developed, like the handheld GPS, by Garmin, was only available because a huge entity like the U.S. government shot these satellites in the sky, and then that allowed everyone else to utilize the technology. It's going to be a similar pattern where a huge conglomerate or company is going to throw money at the problem, and that's just going to make that technology accessible for everyone, and it's going to be cheaper and more widespread, and there's going to be competition and all that stuff. So I think they're expensive, but it's just a matter of time. It's going to come down in price. So
I think the other part of this is, now we talked about Mazda a little and what they were saying. Yesterday, and just a little recap on that. The CMO,
I believe it was, Chief Marketing Officer,
has just said that they don't see any future for self-driving cars, and they will not be pursuing the topic.
Not only that, but he said the engineers, he literally stated, the engineers aren't interested in self-driving cars, which I thought was completely insane and false. But
definitely. So we got a little more feedback from some of the automakers through that article.
Yeah.
And
Oh, right. You were talking about
yeah, and
the.
what their ideas on the whole thing were.
Hmm.
And they are in. They see it as the future, and they know they have to do something about it.
Hmm.
The interesting thing was that, I guess Google has created this car already,
Hmm.
and it is doing a very good job.
Yeah.
As in flawless.
Yeah.
Driving people around.
They've driven
So
a million
you got to
miles.
call that a good job.
Yeah.
But they're already their first reaction to this car was, well, we got to change the technology to make it cheaper.
Yeah.
And it was like, obviously, but does that have to be your first,
Yeah.
reaction to something? Is like, we got to make it cheap enough for us to still make money, but it was very like, and I know they're in business. They're in business to make money, but at the same time, there's plenty of money to be made after it's good and safe and reliable. I think that is the goal right now.
Yeah.
I mean, making it into a profitable, venture is not the goal right now. The technology is clearly the goal. They're not even on the road.
Yeah.
Like, just let's get this worked out so it works well,
Yeah.
and then everyone can start making it cheap.
Yeah. It goes to show we had this big conversation, before the show that went to that whole argument of these companies that are just out for the short-term gain.
Yeah.
And we talked about Chrysler and Fiat and how all the auto companies were in a jam several years ago, after the housing market crisis. It just took its toll on lots of industries, and the auto industry was one of them.
Yeah.
But, so we're starting to see some of the effects of Fiat, kind of their efforts to push a new vehicle and kind of reemerge as, the automaker that's coming out of the recession with full force and strong, and we're going to be profitable. And you can see how much they focused on profits because the quality is horrific. And that's not our opinion. That's from Consumer
That's just
Reports,
fact.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's from reliable, sources that they've produced a really poor quality vehicle.
Yeah.
And so, to your point that, companies, it's going to be the same type of attitude with the autonomous vehicles, with self-driving car. People are going to have that same, they can have that same thought process. Are we going to make these, how are we going to make a profit? How are we going to make a profit? And then you have other companies who are like at the top of the list of reliability and quality standard. And they're just saying, how do we make this just the best, the safest, the most reliable, the best quality.
And I like how Google really linked up with Toyota.
Mm-hmm.
When they were making some of these autonomous cars. Because I think that's the perfect brand combination. And you heard that here first. No, you actually heard it at Google first. I guess, but yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
I really do. I do like that, man.
It gives you more confidence.
Yeah, it makes
in it.
It makes me more confident.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I think it was Tesla and was saying was, we can use the Magic Eye technology to do the same thing that Google's LiDAR radar system does. And and they were like, yeah, it's cheaper and it can, and I wasn't comfortable with that either. I mean, that LiDAR radar is pretty darn cool. Like, it can see through obstacles and it really knows what's going on, man.
It sees more than the human eye.
Yeah.
So it's even, it's going to be even way safer than you.
On one of their videos, Google actually has a circumstance where, a bicyclist ran a red light, and there was vehicles next to the Google car, and so because it had the LiDAR radar, it was able to sense that the bicyclist had run the light, and it didn't proceed Where
Mhm.
if it was just a regular car, I mean, it could have killed somebody.
Yeah.
You know, or if it was a seeing eye, it would have killed somebody. So, and it would have been the bicyclist's fault in that situation. But at the same time, I think what the whole point of these cars is that everyone makes mistakes. You know, even the bicycler that broke the law and ran through the red light. But we need to go above and beyond to make sure that they're safe too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see the same thread of quality in regular vehicles that you do in the autonomous vehicles. And you're going to have varying standards of quality and reliability and safety too. You know, and I think it's even more important or more urgent that the car companies, if they want to have a hand in that market that we're going towards, they better really step up their game in quality and reliability, because no one's going to want to trust a vehicle that they're not in control of unless they have absolute faith that the engineers have produced something of high quality.
Yeah.
And if they're talking already about saving money, dude, that just right there crushes confidence, especially when they haven't even developed any technology towards it.
Yeah.
You know, versus Toyota and Google, who've partnered on this type of thing. You already have faith in them. They've been working on it for a long time. They've not talked anything about, profitability. In fact, they're who knows how many millions they've dumped into it.
They've dumped into
Just like
it. That's
literally
right,
just
man.
turn on a faucet of money and it's just pouring down a drain
And I
because
like
it's not
the-
producing any money.
Yeah, I like the idea of having the people that write the software and make the components different from the car manufacturer that makes the actual automobile.
Yeah. Oh, you like that idea?
I like that.
Oh,
I believe that is,
because of give me more feedback. You're saying because less possibility of
yeah, I mean,
shenanigans?
One company is focused on one thing.
Yeah.
And the other company is focused on the other thing.
Yeah.
You know, and some of these car manufacturers, they can't get a regular car right. I don't want them focusing on how to make my car drive itself
Right.
too.
Yeah.
You know, I'd like another company to do that,
Yeah.
and then they install it into the company,
Into the
you know,
car.
into the car.
Into the existing car.
Yeah, yeah.
I think there's tons of merit to that. Then I would trust an autonomous Ford. Otherwise I wouldn't, right?
Yeah.
Because then I know that the autonomous company, they've done their thing correct.
Yeah.
Go ahead and slap it on my Ford that I don't normally trust, right? But I think there's definite merits to that approach.
You know what? I don't want to talk specifically about what the company is because they may not like it too much.
Yeah.
But I just want to say that there is a company out there that we have seen a brand new car, like with several situations where it is literally tried to kill its, its owner.
Extremely unsafe.
Extreme situation.
And extremely unreliable.
Yeah,
And just
yeah.
a horrific vehicle.
And
That's-
it's a fairly new vehicle.
Yeah.
You know, it is, and it has low mileage on it.
Yeah.
And never do I want anyone from that company like touching any type of
Autonomous
self-driving.
vehicle.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
If
That's a
if you want to know what car company we're talking about, hit us offline.
yeah.
Because probably people who are watching this are like, oh, who? What?
Yeah.
What should I avoid?
Like I'm
Hit us up on a private Facebook message.
I really don't think that this car is going to make it to 100,000 miles without killing someone.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bad car.
Yeah.
It's a really bad car.
So, I guess with that, is there anything else you want to touch on?
I think that's that's a good sum up of the additional information about the price, kind of when the technology is going to be more mainstream. We touched on the LiDAR. We talked about a lot of good stuff on the self-driving car.
Yeah.
So, no, that's good.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks so much for watching again today, and we'll be back on Monday.
All right. See
All
you
right.
then.
Take care.